I appreciate the way you always keep me on the mark, Dave. Can't see
It should be one to forget, you know. It's just what might as well have been part of June, just the way June went. So. It was appropriate while it rained 2 days, you know.
So does your
I was sleeping. I didn't realize we got it.
Good evening. Today is Tuesday evening, July 6, 2010, and I will call this meeting of the Norfolk City Council to order. This is an open meeting, and for all of you that want further information on the Open Meeting Act, it's posted for you right back there in the northwest corner. I'm going to ask you to stand, if you would, for a moment of silence and join us then in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You'll continue with roll call.
Boyd.
Here.
Lange.
Here.
Van Dyke.
Here.
Reeder. Wilson.
Here.
Brenneman.
Here.
Faust.
Here.
Saunders.
Here. Under action, the consent agenda that was provided in your packet, I would ask for a motion to approve that consent agenda.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for approval of the consent agenda. If you will please vote.
All councilpersons voting in the affirmative.
As well, the full agenda before you tonight, I would ask for a motion to approve as such.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Moved and seconded again. If you will please vote.
All councilpersons voting in the affirmative.
Under special presentations tonight, we have a proclamation for the week of August 12th through the 15th as Vietnam Veterans Appreciation Week. I will read the proclamation. Proclamation for Vietnam Veterans Appreciation Week, whereas the City of Norfolk is honored to have been selected as the host city for the 26th Annual Nebraska Vietnam Veterans Reunion, and whereas many who served their country in Vietnam continue to have traumatic experiences and unpleasant memories that linger, and whereas many of you experienced anti-GI homecomings, and much of the American society has not yet expressed its gratitude for your courageous service to your country. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Sue Fookman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim the week of August 12th through the 15th, 2010, as Vietnam Veterans Appreciation Week in the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, and urge all citizens to take due note of the observant. The residents of Norfolk and the surrounding area welcome you to our city for your reunion and thank you for having served us courageously and honorably. Is there anyone here tonight to accept this? No, just got you come over here and
I'll be down here with you.
I appreciate your being here and certainly
My ex-husband was a Vietnam veteran.
You're very welcome. Thanks for being here.
It won't be too long, but we greatly appreciate the proclamation. Thank you, Mayor. This is the third time the reunion is going to be held in Norfolk, and the reunion committee has worked diligently and hardly to make this as good a reunion as possible. The past two reunions have always been very good for the attendees. It's because of Northeast Nebraska. They've always been good to the veterans in many ways, as we evidence around town. So we appreciate being here, and the reunion will be appreciating everyone that's helping. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. We'll move on to the regular agenda. Consideration of ordinance number 5124 that would remove speed zones on Elm Avenue, Victory Road, 37th, and another section of our city code to remove parking restrictions in the 600 block of North 12th and the 1100 block of West Elm Avenue.
Your Honor, I would move consideration of ordinance number 5124 on first reading.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion with a second. How about discussion? Chief, anything you want to say to this? You're first on tonight.
Good evening, Your Honor. Yes, this revision is basically a housekeeping matter. It is designed to eliminate in the ordinance these prohibitions and restrictions around schools that are no longer being used as schools. Try to
Okay.
answer any questions that anyone might have.
Any questions at all, council? Or anyone else? Chief, thank you. Any further discussion at all, council? If not, I would ask for short title.
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Section 24-111 of the official city code to remove speed zones on Elm Avenue, Victory Road, and 37th Street, to amend Sections 24-164, 24-165, and 24-165.1 of the official city code to remove parking restrictions in the 600 block of North 12th Street and the 1100 block of West Elm Avenue, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Thank you. And with that, I would ask you to please vote.
All councilpersons voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5124 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5124 on second and third.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to suspend the rules on second and third. Any discussion? If not, if you will please vote.
All councilpersons voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5124 carries on second and third.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is request for consideration of the approval of the concept of purchasing a parking lot with vehicle parking district funds from the Norfolk Area Chamber of Commerce after the parking lot is built. I'm looking at,
Your Honor, I would move consideration of the approval, just to get it on the table here.
there's a motion
Second.
with a second. And looking for discussion here among council.
I guess, do we have some people here who wish to speak for this?
Possibly.
I guess I would like to hear some comments there first.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dennis Houston with the Norfolk Chamber of Commerce. I'd just like to read a brief statement about the parking lot. I come before you tonight on behalf of the Norfolk Area Chamber of Commerce, its 600 members, and their 15,000 employees. The Norfolk Area Chamber of Commerce is making a $2 million investment in our community. We could have placed our new building anywhere, but we specifically and strategically chose the downtown Norfolk area. Why did we choose this location? We chose it because River Point and Norfolk Avenue serve as our main street and are the backbone of a strong community. A strong and vibrant downtown creates an environment that allows businesses throughout the community to succeed, regardless of whether or not they are located along Highway 275, Highway 81, Benjamin, Riverside, or any other great location in the Norfolk area. The new Norfolk Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center will be located at the corner of Norfolk Avenue and 7th Street. This location will serve as a new front door for downtown, for the community, and for the region. According to the City of Norfolk Trails Plan, it may even serve one day as a trailhead that could bring people directly into the downtown area to connect the center of our community with the Cowboy Trail. The members of the Vehicle Parking District Board are the representatives of the downtown business owners and serve as their voice. As their voice, they have said that yes, they do want to own this parking lot. The new parking lot will serve the needs of businesses on the west end of downtown Norfolk between 6th and 8th Street. This in turn will allow additional economic development. Our strong and vibrant downtown has already attracted 2 new and exciting restaurants in recent days for the area that will be opening within the next 90 days. The new parking lot will also serve a vital community role as a great location for special event parking for events such as the Downtown Christmas Festival, the Arts Festival, downtown car shows, and many other downtown public events. Where are these people going to shop when they park here for all of those special events? They will shop at downtown retail stores and eat in downtown restaurants. Tonight I ask you to vote yes for the parking lot, vote yes for economic development, and vote yes for progress. Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience that wants to come forward? Just state your name and sign in for us, Steve.
Steve McNally. I'm the chairman of the Vehicle Parking District Number 1, and we are the recommending board to you, the City Council, for the Vehicle Parking District. After much discussion, going through the budget, you may have heard there's a lot of other things going on with our downtown area, a lot of positive things. And I do commend the City Council in the last several years. The work that you've done with us is invaluable to the progress that we've made in the area. And this is another piece of the puzzle. And when we went with the streetscape project, we basically annexed from 6th to 8th Street. And the 6th to 8th Street, other than, getting the sidewalks and part of the streetscape, we really haven't done a lot for them specifically. And we also, with the inception of the Vehicle Parking District, one of our main duties is to build and maintain parking lots in our district. The last parking lot we built was approximately 12 years ago. So we feel like we're really kind of getting back to the roots of what we were created for, and that's providing good, usable, accessible parking in the district. This is a perfect fit because it's going to service the businesses that we have recently annexed. And I think Connie will speak to their support on that issue. But one of the things that I'm probably most excited about is, and you may not know when we have events in the downtown, when you get bands and food vendors, there's just not a lot of electricity to accommodate those kinds of events. And right now, the only lot that we have that can do that is on 3rd Street. And it really kind of gets congested and crowded, and it doesn't allow people to spread out and walk in between the businesses. So having another lot that we will be able to put that infrastructure in with the electricity to have the proper hookups that we could have food vendors and another band there is going to be invaluable for that. So I'm definitely in support of it.
Great. Thanks, Steve.
Connie Carey, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm here for the BPD, but I'm also here representing an owner of a property downtown, myself, who is investing money in bringing a restaurant to the downtown. And with this, we are going to have parking needs, and Jay Sears of Jay's Steakhouse was planning to be here tonight, but had to be at his own city council meeting in Fremont tonight, so wasn't able to. So I will speak for him and his need. He is investing in the community also in bringing this. This will be increasing the property tax. We'll be increasing real estate tax on that corner, and we will be increasing sales tax for the community. The restaurant that he's putting in will seat 180 people, and with 180 people, you need some parking somewhere. So this is going to be a vital piece to that corner, to the businesses in that block. Now, with that in mind, this afternoon I also contacted the businesses on that block and asked them what their thoughts were, about the parking. And they're very excited to have the steakhouse because I think it's going to bring extra traffic to their businesses, having the steakhouse be on that block, in which it will. Norris was very excited about that. But it's also, they're concerned that, it's also going to take up some of their parking. So they're seeing the need also for the parking. Basically, that's my addition to this, is as a property owner and representing the steakhouse. Any questions?
Connie, I have a question that doesn't affect your business or the steakhouse. I had some calls from the side street people. Do you want to answer some of the questions on the payment of the parking lot, or is there somebody else here that could?
The payment of the parking lot, yes. We will be using out of the funds that we generally use for those improvements.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, in the meantime, doing smaller things on the side streets, and then as soon as we complete this, we're planning to do bigger. Now, for the parking district, it's going to come down to a question of whether we're going to spend these funds on marketing or improvements, and beyond, like the next year or two. We have funds available in our account left that we could just pay for this, but we don't really want to reduce the funds that we have left. So we're planning to use this out of our regular budget, and this would be budget that we just, like I said, we do generally improvements in the downtown.
Mm-hmm. And that's what their question was, and I've talked with you several times about the side street people that have contacted me, about helping them, and now when this came up, they're again calling and saying, when are you going to do something on our side street? So I just want you to be aware that those people are asking, why are you buying a parking lot? And it's evident to me, they need parking down there for the new businesses, but also we need to watch those people too and help them. So I just want you to be aware that they did call me. I have nothing against the parking lot thing, but I just wanted to represent them that I did get called from a few of them, and they were asking those questions, and we've discussed it before. Is the chamber then going to pay back you for the parking lot, or is there any?
The chamber will rent their spaces from the parking district,
okay,
just like they do with any other parking lot that we own. It's going to be under the same rules. The city already has drafted an agreement that a workable agreement between us.
Okay, because they asked that too. Are we going to get our money back so we can use it down the road? Because they feel they are a part of your board, but they kind of want answers,
And we do understand, we know that we represent everybody, and we are making an effort to continue to do this. We can't do anything as big as what we did on the Avenue, of course, without doing another big bond issue.
Right.
That's a lot of money. But we do intend we're not going to stop. Every year there will be improvements made to side streets and Madison Avenue and Brosh.
Okay.
We've done them every year so far, and we're going to continue.
Right. Thank you.
Connie, I do want to let you know, too, I can echo Councilman Fausen that I received a phone call recently, too, expressing a deep concern on the fact that this citizen is not necessarily retail. And so the concern there is that the additional increase in what he's going to be paying, they're going to be paying, is certainly concerning to them, too, in the fact that where they're located, they're not seeing any benefit to this. So, and let me give you another suggestion that was made, and I think it's a good one, in that maybe we as the council and the board need to have further discussion on the advisory board that we have set up. What's been expressed to me is that they are all Main Street retail folk.
That's not true.
Okay, and I got to stand corrected. I mean, I don't know. My point is, we need to make sure that all these people are getting all the information that they need. I expressed to them that it was the council that had asked the vehicle parking district to go back and make sure that everyone that was a property owner there had information of the last town hall meeting and how things were progressing. So, again, it's their responsibility to get to these meetings and know what's going on, but I'm going to...
That's for the creation of the BID. This is
right.
Not those funds.
I understand that, but...
It's anybody's, what they're spending right now in any way.
The way it's being spent is where the concern came from. So, I just encourage you, if you remember right, we talked about making sure that minutes from those meetings are going out to everybody that's involved. I'm just asking you to make sure that's being done, and I think it would be beneficial if we did sit down with the advisory group, and maybe have some further discussions so that we can make sure that we are hearing
Yeah,
what
I
needs to
think
be heard. So,
I think that's very good.
okay.
And I think that, with this too, and sometimes people feel like they're not getting the benefit, that if this parking lot goes down there, but they are, because this has increased. A new restaurant of this size and this magnitude is going to bring a lot more traffic to the downtown. So this is kind of like when the water rises, everybody's boat goes up, is what's going to happen with this. So I think it's, and for years, this is another thing too, for years, when we had focus groups that said, what do you want in the downtown? Restaurants were always on there.
Right.
Steakhouse was on there. The Italian restaurant was on there. We've heard this for years and years and years. Well, you can't have them come downtown and tell them, figure out where you're going to park your people. Good luck on selling enough food to make it happen.
Yeah. And, you're to be applauded because you've done a great job in bringing in new businesses down there, and certainly the community supports your efforts, but we need to make sure that, we are being the voice, too, of those citizens that are expressing concerns. And again, I just ask you to make sure that they're getting all the information, because it's like you say, there's a lot of different discussions that have been happening. And
we have asked, and I guess we haven't followed up to make sure that has happened. I think after that request came up at the town hall meeting, we did go back and revisit and said make sure that these minutes are getting out to these people. So
Great.
We have the email addresses, and it's supposed to be being sent directly to their email address.
great, good.
So,
I appreciate that.
And we're planning, I think it's being posted now actually, on which website?
Yeah, the city's website.
Okay, our minutes are posted on the city's website ever since that town hall meeting. So it's out there to the public, available anytime
Great.
they want to get on the website and find it.
Good. All right. Any other discussion on this item? Anyone else that wants to speak to?
I'm Scott Adams. I've kind of been out of the downtown for a while, but I always watch the city's agenda on the thing, so when I saw this come up, I had some questions, not about this specifically as such, not about this proposal, more the city's way the city works, actually, which is kind of interesting. Because essentially this is, the way it looks like the city's possibly going to be contributing to the capital campaign of the Chamber of Commerce. Because you own a parking lot directly north, 4,000 square feet of parking lot to the north of this, and actually what's on the Salvation Army parking lot, you own about 3,000 to 4,000 square feet of that parking lot. It should be a wonderful parking lot for people to park in because they don't even stripe it, because they don't use it. There's not enough, there's a lot of that area that's just unused. But the questions I have is, how is this, as far as cities working, how do you, and I'll go Mr. Plant Chukai, just to get him ready.
I appreciate that, Scott,
Yeah.
because he's going to be the one I turn to as well.
How do you balance something like this, a request like this, on Chapter 2, Section 83, number L, or subsection L, as far as one person receiving benefit, one business in this case, over, like, again, if you purchase another
You're talking about you're talking about a provision of the city code?
Provision of city code, yeah, Chapter 2, Section 83, subsection L, where they're essentially one person receiving a benefit, if that makes any sense. And I understand this is actually for city officials, and that's...
That provision I don't think is applicable. It talks about no city official or employee in the course of their official duties shall grant any special consideration, treatment, or advantage to any citizen beyond that which is available to every other citizen in the same circumstances. I don't think that's applicable, but let me address why I think that what's proposed on the agenda here is an appropriate matter for the council to consider, and is more importantly a lawful matter for the council to consider. First of all, the vehicle parking district is nothing more than a special taxing district of the city of Norfolk. And that area bounded by from 1st to 8th Street, Brosh to Madison, is empowered with certain rights or certain things that it can lawfully do under the Nebraska statutes. One of those is the building of parking lots. I don't think that either the city or the vehicle parking district, as that special taxing district, can make a contribution to the Chamber of Commerce or to the restaurant that Connie was talking about or anything else. What is before the council for consideration, and I would correct Connie, I think that what we've got, we don't have an agreement at this point in time. This is a conceptual thing, and what was talked about here is, and the item which is attached as enclosure 20 to the agenda talks about basically a framework for having the vehicle parking district funds being utilized by the council, who is the one that at the end of the day can consider the recommendation and actually expends those monies. But the conditions, what we were talking about was a way to conceptually do that to enhance parking in that area of the vehicle parking district was 9 points that were put together about a way to do that. One is recognizing that the vehicle parking district is a special taxing district of the city, and it really is the city. I mean, when Randy does his accounting for that, the vehicle parking district really has a separate fund within the city of Norfolk, and that's where those monies are expended from, be it for parking lots, be it for downtown Christmas decorations, be it for parking lot maintenance or whatever. The second thing is that what was talked about was the city, through the vehicle parking district and the city together, acquiring a parking lot of approximately 18,000 square feet. That property is currently owned by the chamber. Then the third thing is that parking lot would be developed, designed, and ultimately built with room for approximately 35 cars. The parking lot, the fourth thing was the parking lot would not be bid or built until the city had first approved the design. The notion for that being that when that parking lot, the way that it's currently being done is the vehicle parking district pays the city of Norfolk, so that small taxing area pays the entire city, which is made up of all the citizens and all those tax revenues, for the maintenance of those parking lots. So the notion was that the city wanted to have some desire in how that was designed so that it maximized the ability to maintain it, clean it from snow, all of those sorts of things. One of the things, the fifth thing was the parking area that would be designed would then be platted into a single lot. The reason for that would be that the parking lot would be lot one of something or whatever the case would be, so that it was something that could be sold. The vehicle parking district can buy that just the way that it's bought I don't know, how many other parking lots does the vehicle parking district own? 8, 10, whatever it is. We put in a couple of things that we're aware of is that when the city acquires property, there's a couple of things that need to be done. If the property's believed to be have a value in excess of $100,000, then the city needs to have an appraisal. One of the things which is we talked about here, just to show that the vehicle parking district was getting value and was not making a contribution like you suggest in regard to the chamber, was that there would be an appraisal that gave rise to what the value of that property was, so that it was obvious to everybody who was interested that the actual value that the vehicle parking district was obtaining was what that actual value was. There's some provisions in there that before the city acquires property, you have to have a hearing and do some things which we talked about needing to happen. The other thing would be that in regard to that appraisal, if the appraisal didn't come out to be $60,000, the way I wrote it was that the agreement to acquire the property for the appraised value not to exceed $60,000 is to be reflected in a standard real estate purchase agreement that we would prepare after the plat was complete. So what we're talking about here tonight is conceptual, the council conceptually embracing that notion. If that goes forward after those things are done, what we would do is when the parking lot was constructed, then we'd come back with a with an agreement that would put together the legalities of going through all the steps and so on and so forth. So this is kind of a conceptual thing about whether that's something that, whether the council wants to embrace the recommendation that's made from the vehicle parking district. The last thing, which is one that Connie mentioned, was that the parking lot would at the end of the day be a public parking lot. It would be operated in the sole discretion of the city through the vehicle parking district in the same manner as all the rest of the parking facilities which are maintained by the city. So that there would be, if you're familiar with those other parking lots, there's some of those parking stalls that are available for rent. There's some of them that are available just to the public at large. So one would anticipate that this parking lot would be ran in that, it would be operated in that same manner. So I don't know if that addressed your question, but that's really the issue that's before the council.
Well, and like any other city entity, there's always big projects and trying to fix the parking lot on like 3rd and Madison or 5th and Madison, and there's always things. So I'm just saying, I wondered about the use of the money. Is there any plan for the essentially 30, I don't know how many stalls are actually there because they never paint them, the 30 stalls the city currently owns to the north of this, in that parking lot?
You're talking about the parking lot which...
Bank of the West and Salvation.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that I would quite agree with you that the city owns 30 stalls there.
They own 10 feet from the grass all the way up.
What?
They own 10 feet from the grass all the way up.
Okay,
up down the block.
I understand that the very western portion of the paved parking lot along 7th Street, to the east of 7th Street, between Norfolk Avenue and Brosh, when the railroad right-of-way title was quieted in the name of the city, there is about 10 foot there. I suppose we could park maybe a lot of Volkswagen Super Beetles there, but there's a small amount of parking or of covered property there that the city owns. I'm not sure that it really has any usable space the way it's configured right now as a parking lot.
Like I said, we asked, when I was working for the Salvation Army, they tried to purchase it, but the police use it, and at that point, what's going to be the steakhouse, it was, Randolph's was using it to actually display things. And so it's a full, you can park Cadillacs or Rolls Royce, you don't have to put Volkswagens side by side. And I always wondered about, that's one of those things that's just a big area that Salvation Army couldn't use. Is that something that, $60,000 is a lot of money to purchase?
Again, I'm not going to debate. What I'm going to say is that I think if you park a car on there, you're parking the car on a portion of the Salvation Army parking lot. I don't, unless maybe if you're parallel parking it there, you can. But without really going out there and marking that off. By the same token, since that property was acquired, since the quiet title action was completed, I don't think the city cleaned snow there or has done any maintenance there. That's kind of been an area that's out there at one point in time, many years ago, I had talked with the Salvation Army about the possibility of entering into a lease with the city whereby they could use that if they maintained it. That never happened, but that's in effect what's happened. It's that parking lot's been there, and the way it's configured, I don't, you'd have to crane set cars in there because you really can't get there unless the Salvation Army allows you to, and so on and so forth.
I have a question for Randy. Was United Rental paying the city to park their equipment there?
I don't believe we're getting any compensation from United Rental.
Okay. Of course, it's the moot question now because they're moved, but I know they've had equipment there. I assume we never charged them rent, so I assume we didn't own it, but maybe part of it was ours and part of it was Salvation Army. I really don't know. Maybe Dennis knows.
Where that equipment was parked, it was just on our little 10-foot strip, or if it was on the Salvation Army's, probably on some of both, but we weren't getting rent from them.
Anything else, Scott?
No, I just can't. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else with questions tonight or Okay. Council, any further discussion?
No, I just want to say that I'm in no way against this, because the parking lot down there probably is good for the new businesses coming in downtown Norfolk. I just had to express the phone calls that I have received. I don't mind going ahead with this tonight if they will, try and meet with the side street people, because I think, like you said, Mayor, there needs to be some dialogue, because the ones that called me did not know anything about this and want to talk to them about it. See if we can go with that. That'd be great. Otherwise, if we want to wait and do that and then talk about it here, we can. But if they want to talk to them, that's fine with me.
Well, and I still think it'd be beneficial for us to have conversation with that group too, as
Yeah.
council. Maybe if we can look forward to a work session or something where we can sit down and have some further conversation, just so that we make sure that it is our responsibility to make sure that the citizens are well aware of the process here and how we're trying to move forward. So,
Communication always seems to be the hardest thing.
I guess just a question of clarification. This is a consideration and approval of the concept, so really it's not anything that's carved in stone.
But just,
Yeah.
and I'd like them just to know that there is some people out there that want to talk to them about it, so this is a concept, but the next thing is the real thing. If we could get that handled in between, that would be super, and then that way the phone calls quit coming and everything's smooth and everybody's happy, and then we're happy and things go faster. Everybody's happy, so,
right.
that's
I think everybody's going to be happy.
Yep, so, and I don't disagree with that, and I'm in no way against this. The phone calls I've got, they are against it, and they want to talk to you, to several groups, and talk to you, like we've had conversation about some of the side street people, and they're still out there, and they're still going like, we still aren't getting anything, and so they call me, and they called the mayor, and probably some other people, so I just wanted to be aware of that. I would like you to set up a meeting with them and us, because it probably wouldn't hurt for us to be there so that we can have dialogue with them.
Why did they never call any of us?
That's a good question. I guess because...
by God, I gave him your phone number today, Connie, so you might be getting the call.
What?
I did give him your phone number today.
And I do think they want to talk, but they don't necessarily want to come in the public and talk, so we need to have a meeting and visit with them and see what's on their mind. That's the only thing I have that I would like to say about it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor with the second. Are we ready to vote? Please do so.
All councilpersons voting in the affirmative.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I appreciate the input. Next, I'm going to ask for consideration of approval to authorize city staff to negotiate a contract with HDR Engineering. I would ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Your Honor.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
I have a motion and a second. I believe we're going to look to Dennis,
Yes.
who's going to give us a little information here.
Yeah. At the wastewater treatment plant, kind of sits right over here, part of the operation is there. Have a 36-inch reinforced concrete pipe that comes into the plant that's about 35 years old. We've got this 48-inch pipe, which is a discharge from the part of the treatment plant operation there that was over the top of the 36-inch pipe. And then we've got this 21-inch clay pipe that comes in from the northwest that probably is one of the first sewer lines that was built in the city of Norfolk. The morning after the flood, we discovered a broken pipe right here on the 36-inch pipe, the one down under the 48-inch pipe. So as we started dealing with that, it was important for us to get the pressure off of this 48-inch pipe so it didn't end up down in the hole as we were making the repairs. So we went into this junction box here and took the top off of it and allowed the wastewater or the treated water to flow out across the ground here and then down to the river. Well, that worked all well and dandy for about 2 days, and then we had a major problem in that this 21-inch pipe collapsed out here. There's about 100 or 110 feet of it that's totally collapsed, and the waste is working its way through there, but not very well. So what we're asking for is authorization for staff to negotiate with HDR to determine what the best solutions are for dealing with the 21-inch pipe. The 36-inch pipe has a Band-Aid on it. It has been Band-Aided back together and backfilled. It's not going to be a long-term solution because there's some other areas in that vicinity that are probably about ready to collapse.
Did this damage occur because of the flooding?
Well, this break here, I don't think is attributable to the flood because it never had any flood water on it. I didn't think this one was attributable to the flood at all until just must have been Friday. The field dried out enough that I was able to walk out there, and I went and I walked the next stretch of this line beyond where we had effluent over the top of it, and there's 5 more holes out there. So this 21-inch pipe is, well, this is totally collapsed. There's more collapses or holes in that pipe as we work our way on upstream. So, and that area was covered by floodwater. So I suspect that 21-inch
disaster funds that could be used for something.
Well, one of the things that we will take a look at as we work with the engineer to see if we can make that point. One of the issues they're going to say is it was going to collapse anyhow because it's 100 years old and getting weak. So, but we will take a look at that now that we have some evidence that there were some other issues farther upstream.
Any other discussion or questions for Dennis? Okay.
What kind of time frame are we looking at getting them on board? Or I mean, apparently this is an issue that needs to happen.
Yeah, we've kind of divided this into a two-pronged project. We've got a negotiated contract that Clint's working for about $19,000 that will be to come and look at what the issues are and what the recommended solution will be, and that will probably enter into the operations manager can approve contracts up to $20,000. So that'll probably be entered into tomorrow, and hopefully by the next council meeting, or at least the first one in August, we'll have a contract to develop the solution. HDR is supposed to be here Thursday morning to start working on this. So
Dennis, is
short-term turnaround time.
Go, Dale.
our plan is, are we just addressing the 21-inch pipe at this time, or is this going to be the whole enchilada? We're going to put the 36-inch pipe in there and try to get a solution for the whole package? Are we just concentrating on the collapsed 21-inch clay pipe?
We will be looking at a comprehensive solution that deals with the 21-inch pipe, the 36-inch pipe, and there's another 30-inch pipe that is a little newer than the 21, but I'm not sure a whole lot that will be looked at also.
Okay.
So we are looking at trying to develop a comprehensive solution to the stuff just west of the treatment plant. This line here, as it proceeds on to the north, that may be another phase once we get away from the immediate area there.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
We do.
We do,
Second.
okay. Couldn't remember. Okay.
We have a motion and a second. If no further discussion, please vote.
All councilpersons voting in the affirmative.
Okay, and last item here on the agenda tonight is consideration for approval of a request from Leroy and Patricia Von Glahn to allow replacement of their septic system because of requirements needing a lift pump and the potential for freezing due to the shallow depth of the sewer line at 1806 East Norfolk Avenue. I would ask for a motion for consideration of.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor.
Second.
Anyone that has any discussion here, or I can, Scott, are you speaking to this? I know Gary here.
Your Mayor, I'd be glad to do that, Your Honor. The Von Glahns have made this request identifying what they would view as an unusual circumstance based on the lay of the land. I've asked for comments from our water and sewer director, Mr. Watts, and along with our health official, John Kova. And they've looked at the situation, and I think the first question that I'd be wanting to ask if I was all of you is, why is this different than some we've seen in the past? This one just has some physical characteristics that make it different than some that this body's heard in the past. When the water and sewer director tells me that there's an inherent freezing probability with this installation, it just doesn't make good sense to move forward with that type of mandatory installation. So the relief from the strict requirement to hook on the city sewer may be something that should be looked at in the form of some relief granted based on this waiver. So the physical arrangement of things is just different here than we've ever presented to you, at least that I've been a part of being presented to you. So we did seek opinions from various experts within the staff to try to get some feel for how this was, and as allowed by the exception in the code, the Von Glons have made the request for this body to have consideration to not hook on at this time. So they just simply want to replace the tank that failed and add some additional absorption fields so they have a functional, lawful septic system to carry on their home needs there. So I think they're here in the audience if you have specific questions for them. I believe Mr. Watts is here as well if you need to talk to him about his observations on the scene.
Leroy, do you want to come forward and speak? And let me tell you, too, I appreciate the opportunity to come out and visit. I'm sorry I did not get there, but I was a little behind on my voicemail, so I apologize.
I am Leroy Von Glon, and we are seeking a waiver. It's been pointed out more eloquently than I could probably do it, that what we are going to be facing if we do follow the requirements of hooking on the city sewer, that the city sewer we will be hooking onto is just 2 foot deep, and our pumping system would always have water in it, and then it would always be prevalent to freezing. And, if there are any questions, I would happily try to answer.
Okay, thank you.
On that comment, I went out and looked at that, and I guess I can sure see the problem because this land sits considerably lower than the sewer line that's along East Norfolk Avenue. And the other thing is, if you look to the south, where he would obviously, his septic system would, the septic or the field, drainage field, the likelihood that that's going to be developed into residential or anything like that, I think is really remote. It sets very low, and if I thought that would be developed, I'd say, well, this is another story because we wouldn't have houses that were, but I just don't see that in the near future. So it seems like a reasonable request to me.
I visited with staff too and asked them questions about this because there are unusual things that happen out there, and they said this is one of them and that they support what the Von Glons want, and I support what the Von Glons want because if it is going to create hardship and do things, I don't believe in that, and so I agree with them, and I trust staff that they know what that situation is. So
I too have observed the area out there, drove out and looked at the situation, and I certainly concur with the fact that their property lies considerably lower than does the street there, East Norfolk Avenue, and it just seems appropriate to me, and it's an unusual circumstance, and it's different than what we may have to deal with if an additional party would ask for a waiver. I think this is certainly a different situation and warrants the granting of the waiver.
Any other council that wants to?
I guess I'll just add my sentiments. I did go out there and visit the site and talk to Dennis, and think it makes perfect sense. Even to Ivan's point, if that land to the south would be developed, I think the infrastructure that was there, maybe the sewer line would even go that way, so it gravity feeds. You know, I mean, down the road, maybe 100 years when the septic system fails again, there might be other options for a sewer. I said, when you're driving down East Norfolk Avenue, if they had a roof display at Christmas, it'd be about at eye level, so they're considerably lower than East Norfolk Avenue. So this makes perfect sense to me.
Anyone else with comments, questions? Council next to me, will you clarify for us before we do this final vote?
The just to note that the waiver, the applicable city code section says the waiver shall only be granted after a hearing and after affirmative vote of 3/4 of all members of the city council. So before you vote, just so that we've stated that it takes 6 affirmative votes to grant the waiver.
Okay, and with that said, there's a motion and a second, and I would ask you to please vote.
All councilpersons voting in the affirmative.
Okay. Seeing nothing else on the agenda, then, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor.
We are adjourned.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Mr. Rankin.
Thanks for sending me that letter. I haven't had a chance to get one written yet to you, but,
Oh, you know, you got plenty of.
well, our timetable's been moved up. I know. We're looking, second or third week of August.
Wow.
It's only 2 weeks out, but it's got another meeting different.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, at least it's not like you're.
Dennis, take a look at that Mendelson 12, see what you think, on east and west.
You're right.
And I'll basically tell the fellow about overlaying South 12th that it looks like it won't get done this year.
Are we done?
What?
our timetable's moved up.
You bet.
13th.
That's the only thing, thank you, is I have DVDs.
Second, third reading, first reading.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just say yes.
See?
You know what, I think I'll make a copy of it. Oh, do you want to pick it up where I put it?
We hired somebody for geotech and stuff,
Yeah.
so we should be.
Yeah. I'll have to get that signed.
We are.
Yeah. You want to pick them up? Oh, no. Before 10 o'clock might be better for me, but otherwise I'll have it done. Okay. All right. No, I'll be done.
My daughter did.
How are you?
Yeah.
Habitat? Habitat?
Do we take that on, or do we just,
There's no proof.
somebody?
We call him Dave Thomas. All of the action.
So that matters. And then the other one was,
Somebody voting on it.
this other one was right, what was the other one here?
I don't either.
So then what you do is when you get within 2 weeks, you
I just thought this one, I got this.
Really?
This is one where we're agreeing to pay for them if they get involved in any kind of litigation. I'm thinking
We can do it that way.
This one is one where, where I'm saying, shouldn't they have an obligation to do the.
Thanks for being here.
To do the, those may not be our utilities that are causing the problem.
So it needs to be on that agenda meeting. So I need to have a letter written, and that would be on
And it probably doesn't have a whole lot with what's going on.
That's clean.
Got it.
But the time is
This is,
Yeah, I didn't know that he had a.
outside of that?
outside of that.
I didn't know that he held on to this. Next meeting, just at the end of the meeting, said, hey, I've got enough.
I would just make them.
Thank you.
Talking about the two have come up. Then we have
Lovely discussion. 35 parking stalls. We're going to stay at 9 foot by 18 foot, even though they may change.
Because technically, everything you're saying, everything is
So we're sitting here in a meeting. Yeah. And, but see, so we got a progress meeting last Tuesday, and right away Paul Mettleman goes, well, I can't park in that stall.
It's too, 24 foot isn't big enough to back out of my vehicle. I don't want to go, get a different frickin' vehicle. But I go, well, that's probably a little bit accurate. I know out at the college, they started out with 9-footers by 18s. And then last summer, we changed them all, changed everything to 10 by 18s because they have
We talked about it talked to Sheila about it.
4 foot.
Kind of wanted to keep it a smaller group.
And that's what the college has got too. Yeah, 20, you can do 10s and 24 by 18 and